Today on the Art Craze, we have Chachi Gonzales, a choreographer, dancer, and winner of the 2011 America's Best Dance Crew. Stay tuned. Welcome to the Art Craze. I'm your host, Zachary Roozen, and today we have choreographer and YouTube hit Chachi Gonzales. Thanks for being here, Chachi.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So, to start off, you grew up in Texas, started dancing at 6, ballet. You got into hip-hop, joined I Am Me, and won 2011 America's Best Dance Crew. So, that's a lot, and you are 19 years old. What are some of the highlights on that journey that you went
Honestly,
through?
I think my favorite part is just being able to travel like all across the world and meet these people that supported me and got me to where I was. So I think that's been really cool. I've been to like India and Australia and these crazy places. It's like amazing.
Do you have a favorite one of all your travels?
I think I get that question a lot, and I think it's really hard because everywhere is so different, and like the amount of love and just respect there is like insane. So I can't pick a favorite.
Do you feel like I was going to ask you about your style of dance and how that plays in, and then also off that last question, how different areas do they respond differently to the styles that you choose? Or
yeah, I
think
think my style just depends on the piece, actually.
Okay.
So each piece like has a meaning behind it, and everything's for a reason. So I think when I go to the place and I teach these pieces, depending on what that person is going through or how they feel, it just like depends on how they react to it. But it's usually always really positive, and people cry sometimes. I was in Germany and I taught an emotional piece, and everyone was just crying, and they made me cry.
I love it. So is it normally groups then that you're teaching, or do you teach individuals when you travel like that?
It's big classes, so they
Big
do like
classes.
workshops, so a class can be from 50 people or 500 people.
It's so cool how dance, when you mentioned expression, like how dance is universal, I feel like, in terms of wherever you go.
Yeah, definitely.
Everybody can relate.
Everyone's always like, how do you communicate with these people in Russia and stuff like that? I'm like, I don't need to say anything. Like, they just watch me and they copy me, so it's pretty easy, but it's really, really cool to not be able to say anything, but they still understand you.
They still understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. So what inspired your passion for dance initially? Is there something that you kind of triggered that?
When I was a little girl, I was always just walking around on my tippy toes. So my parents were like, "Oh, ballerina." So I was in ballet for a while, and then I went up to my mom when I was about 9, and I was like, "Mom, like I don't want to do ballet anymore. I want to do this stuff." She was like, "Okay." So
I'd read that you were at an event and you saw a performance, and that kind of inspired you. Was that the initial kind of thing, or?
Yeah, I was at a recital, and there was a hip-hop crew from a studio that was local, and I was like, oh, I want to do that, and I only wanted to take adult classes, never kid classes, and I cried my very first class because I was so shy. But I wanted to do it. It seemed really fun, and it was really easy to express yourself. No one is wrong in hip-hop. Like, it's just you. So it's so much different from ballet. I love ballet. It helped me so much with dancing, but hip-hop is just where the heart is.
I love that. You were shy, but now you're teaching the classes.
I'm crazy. You can't get me to be quiet. I just like, please be quiet, go away.
I love that. Very cool. So I was wondering, you dance in crew and then you also do solo work as well.
Yeah.
And I've seen your stuff, obviously, on YouTube of you solo. And I was wondering what the difference would be in the choreography or maybe the passion that you have when you do the different mediums.
The difference between crew, that's what you're asking me, crew and solo.
Yeah, crew and solo.
It's really hard. I think conquering a stage as a solo artist is really difficult because with a crew you can have things going on over there and over there and over here, but as a solo artist you have to move around the stage and you have to keep the attention on you but also keep it entertaining and on their feet, so it gets really difficult. But I really enjoy both because when I'm on my team, we all vibe off each other. It's always a fun time. But I think just it took a while to get into the solo performing. But it's something I really enjoy because the fans are always right there just interacting with me. So it's a little more personal for me.
Yeah, I feel like the stress, I guess, would be a lot when you're on stage. Does that kind of go away when you begin performing, or is that always there and kind of?
I don't really get nervous if people ask me, and I think just because you've done it for so long, it starts to just feel normal and it's fun for me. I usually don't remember what happens on stage. It's like I just feel it and I'm in the moment and I get off stage. I'm always
moving.
like, how did I do? I don't remember what just happened. But I always pick one person in the audience and I just stare at them the whole time.
Really?
Yeah.
So before show, you have
Oh,
somebody.
as soon as I get on stage, I'll be like, oh, bingo.
And is that somebody that you know then, or is that just
Just a
anybody?
random, yeah.
Wow, very cool. So how did you begin choreography? I guess, is that something that you got into later after you kind of mastered it yourself, or is that something you always had a desire to do?
I'd always wanted to be a choreographer, and people say, oh, there's a difference between choreography and freestyle, but you have to freestyle to be able to choreograph.
To make it.
Yeah, exactly. So I was just playing around with it when I was about 12, and I taught my first class. It was 6 people. I was 12 years old, and I was
When you were
so
12?
scared. Yeah, and it was all like 20-year-olds, and I was just like, oh my gosh, they're all listening to me. This is so cool. But it's just something I've always loved to do. It's like an outlet for me. I love doing other people's pieces, but I love being able to tell my story.
To create
behind them.
yours.
Yeah.
I was wondering, is there a ritual? The reason I say that is because, some artists have like a ritual that they do for every new piece, and I was wondering if with dance, if you have something that's like, I need a certain shoe, or I need this, or if it's more of a feeling.
No, it's just a process that I go through for every single piece. I pick a song, whether it's just how I'm feeling or how a friend's feeling, or just I like the song. I relate to it. The first day, I don't do anything. I just listen to it. I map out what I want to hit in the music, so things people might not hear. So my thing is I really like people to listen to the music.
Okay.
So I'll listen and map out what I want to do, go to sleep the next day, just start freestyling, and as soon as I feel comfortable with a certain move or a vibe towards it, that's when I'll start choreographing piece by piece.
So now, beat or lyrics? When you say listening, do you mean as in, I wondered if it was off the words, if that's kind of the story, or more?
Yeah, I switch on and off in the music, so I'll dance to the words at this part or the beat.
Okay.
It just kind of depends on what I think is cool. But sometimes people are so worried about, oh, is this a 2 or this a 5? I'm just like, no, just close your eyes, listen to the music, and if you really listen, you're going to hear what I'm trying to hit.
So 2 or 5 being like...
1, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Okay.
6, 8, 4, 5. Yeah.
So you just say, let that go.
Yeah, don't worry about the counts. Just worry about, feel it. I don't care if you get the choreography perfect or not. As long as I feel that you're feeling it, it's good enough for me.
That's awesome, because we've had a lot of musicians on the show, too, and they always talk about how their best performances come when they just kind of, rather than worrying about everything, it's just kind of let it go. And very cool. So I was wondering, you're busy all the time. I see all of the things that you're doing, all your travels. When do you have time to be 19-year-old Chachi having fun?
I find my moments. I have little breaks here and there throughout the day, or I have 2 days off. This week has been actually pretty crazy. This past few months, actually, have been really crazy. But I make sure that I'm able to balance a normal, healthy life as well as a business life. But my life in general is just really fun. So when I'm on the road, I have fun. I can be 19. I can be myself. So
how long do you spend in, say, you go to Hungary? I know you mentioned Hungary. How long would you spend in an area?
My travel days usually are pretty crazy. Sometimes I have time for visiting, and sometimes I don't. It's just work, so 2 to 3 days, or sometimes I'll spend a week there. It just kind of depends on what the rest of the tour is looking like. Yeah.
Hopefully, you get to experience the cities a little bit too.
I know some places that I go to, I'm like, I have to make time to do this. I don't care if I have to drive or wake up early.
I mean, getting to just travel and do what you love. That's so cool. I was wondering, we're running at the end of the interview, but I was wondering what you want people to take away from what you do. If you had one message, this is what Chachi Gonzales, this is the inspiration from it, what would you say would be the one?
I think just honestly staying true to who you are, and just there's going to be a lot of negativity and there's going to be a lot of people that are trying to put you down, but at the end of the day, if you're happy and if you're having fun, it's going to be worth it. It's going to be hard. It's never going to be easy, but it gets better. So you get better. So I think I always tell my people, just keep following your dreams and just keep being yourself, and the best is going to happen.
So small steps.
Small steps, yeah. There. It's not going to happen overnight.
Yeah,
it's not going to happen overnight.
We have these huge aspirations, and then they seem so lofty. But what I love about your story is that everything I've read and everything I've heard in all your interviews, you take it one step at a time, and it all comes together. And looking now back, you can say, "Wow, look at all this happening."
Hard work really does pay off.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, Chachi.
Thank you.
We're gonna throw now to our correspondent Claudia Vell, and then after that, Chachi is gonna teach me how to dance. So.